Ghost stories are often fascinating and hold insight into unexplained phenomena. Universities are a hotbed for urban legends and ghost stories, with many built on historical sites. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 haunted universities. Ohio University Haunted Room 428. Ohio University in Athens, Ohio, the 9th oldest public university in the United States, established in 1804, and has a room believed to be so frightening it is permanently closed. Room 428 in Wilson Hall has a reputation, with multiple students passing away under mysterious circumstances in the room. The building itself is not as old as the university, built in 1965 and named after the late faculty member Hiram Roy Wilson. It has become the basis of several urban legends. In the 1970s, a male student reportedly passed away in room 428, with little revealed about how he lost his life, with some believing it is his ghost haunting the room. Since this loss of life, the room is said to have been the center of paranormal experiences, one of which is a demon face appearing in the door. Even when the door is changed, the face returns. A second student is believed to have passed away in room 428, a female student that was practicing astral projection in the room. Her behavior apparently became unusual, and an obsession with the occult grew, with many different tales of her behavior circulating. It is believed that the female student passed away in a violent way while partaking in occult practices. Some stories say that the female took her own life, while other sources say something paranormal happened. After the female passed away, the university sealed the room permanently, saying it was uninhabitable. Students that have lived in this room reported paranormal occurrences and poltergeist reports, such as objects flying across the room, strange voices, and footsteps. There are multiple legends as to why room 428 and Wilson Hall are at the center of paranormal activity. One theory notes that Wilson Hall is in the center of 5 cemeteries that creates a pentagram. Another legend suggests that Wilson Hall is built on top of an old cemetery. Different sources suggest different cemeteries. One believes it is a Native American burial ground. Another states that it is an early cemetery for the Athens Mental Institute, also known as the Athens Lunatic Asylum. The Athens Mental Institute, built in 1867, is now part of Ohio University, and the complex is called the Ridges, which is also believed to be haunted. While the reason for its haunting is the source of legends, room 428 of Wilson Hall is still not used for any students, with noises still being heard and paranormal experiences still happening near the room. It will likely remain a ghost story told around campus. Ghosts of Waterfront Station. Waterfront Station is considered one of the most haunted buildings in downtown Vancouver. It was originally built in 1915 by the Canadian Pacific Railway as the final stop for their transcontinental trains that came from Toronto and Montreal. It is a grandiose terminal that was built to depict train travel during that era, romantic and glamorous with a certain level of sophistication associated with it. It is currently still used as a transportation hub where passengers can connect to multiple transport systems such as the SkyTrain, West Coast Express Train, Seabus, city buses, and the Helijet helicopter services. There used to be full-time residences and housing for travelers located in the East Wing, but that now has transformed into a restaurant. Upper floors have been turned into business offices, although some remain empty and are just used for storage. Ghosts and poltergeists have been seen many times by the security guards who patrol at night. One guard claims he saw the ghost of a 1920s flapper girl wearing a red dress who was dancing to jazz music alone in the corridor of the west end of the building. As he approached her, the music suddenly stopped and she disappeared. Another guard was walking through the rooms in the upper floor of the East Wing when he experienced a poltergeist. He was in a room that was used as storage for desks. As he walked through, the desks silently moved behind him and blocked the door. When he turned around and saw the desks, he jumped over them and ran from the room frightened. In the northwest corner of the station, a security guard wandered through a dark and empty room with his flashlight when all of a sudden he came face to face with the ghost of an old woman. Glowing white, the miserable-looking woman reached her hand out to the guard. There have even been incidents of hauntings. One guard was in a kitchen when he was abruptly met by a different old woman. She tried to aggressively come towards him, but he fled. He later started to dream of her every night and would see her everywhere in windows and mirrors. He was suddenly overcome with the urge to paint her despite not being an artist. He left the painting in the kitchen and was never bothered by her again. Later on, management tried to move the painting, but then the mover began having dreams of her as well until management agreed to return the picture. Within the building, the night guards often hear the sound of footsteps walking through the station, despite there being no one there. Outside of the station on the tracks on the north end, they have also seen the ghost of a rail worker during rainy nights. They believe it is the spirit of Hub Clark, a brakeman who slipped on wet tracks in 1928 as he was repairing the rails and was subsequently knocked unconscious. A passenger train came along and he passed away due to horrific injuries. People claim to see Clark still wandering through the tracks, headless with a lantern in his hand while he searches for his head. The University of St Andrews, Scotland. The University of St Andrews, Scotland is so well known for being haunted that it is the centre of numerous ghost tours. St Andrews is the oldest university in Scotland and the third oldest in the English-speaking world. Teaching began in 1410, and the university was formally constituted in 1413, plenty of time to acquire some ghosts. The historic town of St Andrews is known as one of the most haunted places in Scotland, with reports of ghosts ranging from monks, mysterious women, and even a ghost ship. There are a total of 200 haunted locations and 400 spectres believed to haunt St Andrews. The White Lady is one of St Andrews' most famous ghosts and is believed to be one of the ladies-in-waiting of Mary, Queen of Scots, or a former nun who now roams the abbey ruins or the cathedral, which is very close to the university. The university has its own ghost, believed to be Patrick Hamilton, a 16th century student and teacher, the first martyr of the Scottish Reformation. The spot where he passed away is believed to be cursed, and you will notice students dodging his initials in the cobbles on the street beneath the bell tower of St Salvador's Chapel, one of the oldest buildings at St Andrews University. Patrick Hamilton was executed in 1528 at the age of 24. He was tried as a heretic and his life was taken at the stake for his Protestant beliefs. The ending of his life was not quick and reportedly lasted for over 6 hours, with executioners struggling to light the fires with damp wood failing to ignite and a slow-burning fire. There are a few local traditions and myths added to Patrick Hamilton's loss of life. The university notes that the mysterious face carved into the stonework of the college tower above the gateway is that of Patrick Hamilton. It is believed that as he passed away, his face was burned into St Salvador's Tower. Students also refused to step on the initials PH in the spot where he was executed, as rumours state that Patrick Hamilton will curse them to fail their exams. Some students have experienced strange things at the execution site, such as the sound of cracking and the smell of burning flesh. The monk that verbally condemned Patrick Hamilton as he was slowly burned, Alexander Campbell, is said to have passed away shortly after, and that he is the lone figure that roams Blackfriars Chapel in the centre of St Andrews. Lambertville High School. Our next mysterious and haunted school is Lambertville High School in New Jersey. The school was first constructed in 1854, and the original structure had mostly burned in a fire in the early 1920s. There were many rumors spread about the fire, claiming the lives of 50 students and some teachers. However, it was rebuilt and remodeled and was still in use as a school. Another rumor about a player named Billy from the Buckeyes football team circulated after they came to play Lambertville High. After Billy was piled and jumped on by the Lambertville players, they discovered he had actually passed away. Some said they saw his broken neck and head turned completely around on his corpse. From that day on, Billy was believed to have haunted the halls of the school, even after it was closed and abandoned. The haunted story claims that if you visit the school at night and say, "Billy, I challenge you to a football game," your neck would be snapped and you'll pass away instantly. Of course, this has never been recorded to have actually happened, but it still remains an ominous tale today. In 1992, another fire was set in the school by vandals, and after that, it was abandoned. Eventually, the school was demolished in 2012, and although the school no longer stands, the ghost stories still remain alive. Pennsylvania State University. Our last haunted school is Pennsylvania State University, otherwise known as Penn State or PSU. The university was founded in 1855 as an agricultural college, but eventually introduced other programs such as engineering. When the engineering program took off, more degrees were introduced and enrollment figures were doubling each year. So what's so scary about Penn State? For starters, the hauntings began when a student lost their life in 1969 at the library. She was working on a paper and was brutally punctured by a knife from behind. A librarian was made aware of the slaughter when a mysterious man mentioned a woman on the floor not moving. She was found on the floor of row 51. The person who conflicted this brutal stabbing was never caught, and the case has remained open. Ever since, the rows have changed throughout the library, but many have heard screams, gasps, and seen bloodstains. However, there doesn't seem to be an explanation for these sounds or the blood. Besides the library, Penn State is also said to be home to another ghost. Atherton Hall is one of the oldest buildings on campus, and students believe that Frances Atherton, the late wife of the school's former president, is haunting the building. Students have claimed to see doors open and close without a person there to do it, as well as seeing her ghost looking out of the window from the top floor. There have been many other supposed ghosts found on campus. In fact, students have also heard the footsteps of a house mother who patrolled the floors at night after curfew to make sure no one was coming in late. Current students who live in the building have said they hear footsteps randomly late at night. Unfortunately, the haunting doesn't stop there. Schwab Auditorium is another hotspot for paranormal activity. The theatre is also believed to be home to the ghost of a former janitor. Unusual activity such as hearing heavy footsteps, doors creaking open, and finding objects mysteriously relocated is enough to convince many students of the ghost's existence. With so many haunting stories and experiences taking place at Penn State, a former student formed a paranormal research society in 2006. The purpose of the club was to investigate paranormal cases to try and make sense of them. The group became popular within the school and eventually caught the media's attention, and they had their own reality series on television. Eventually, the club was handed off to younger students who continue to study the unusual events that take place at the university and surrounding areas. At this point, nothing groundbreaking has been discovered, but with many eyes watching and learning about paranormal activity, they just might arrive at some answers one day. Have you seen a ghost or had similar experiences? Are there any haunted places where you're from? For those who believe in ghosts and have seen them for themselves, these places are unbelievably frightening. There are also many non-believers who visit and have a scary interaction with the supernatural forces. Although we can't exactly prove their existence yet, there's no telling what we'll discover in the future. We might just have to wait for ghosts to appear before our eyes in order to fully believe. But what do you make of these haunted locations and the stories they hold? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.